I've never done that before. I was so excited. I'm so glad the pages turned out in order.
I love it.
Love actually the unauthorized parody. This show is a hilarious take on the film that we all grew to love. Dan, let me go ahead and ask you first. I mean, when did this movie for you become just a Christmas holiday staple?
Weirdly, I don't remember it starting to be a staple. It just sort of always has been. I guess the movie came out when I was in high school, and I don't know that I saw it in theaters, but it's one of those ones that comes on TV every holiday season, and I watch it at least once every December, usually with my in-laws, and it's been fun to jump into this show and really pick apart all of the things that it offers to parody, because there's a ton of them.
Now, Christopher, let's talk a little bit about you. You know, I don't want to give away any surprises, but Alan Rickman, Liam Neeson. I mean, how did you study these two characters to put them on stage?
I'm really familiar with at least both of those actors' bodies of work. And so, I kind of have an ear for where sound comes from in the body. So it was a lot of watching the film over and over again, and also watching other performances that these actors have been in, and, just sort of dialing into that gruff Irish sound for Liam and that very nasal chest voice for Alan Rickman,
Especially for someone who's seen the movie 1,500 times, and even people who have seen it just a handful of times, I mean, they still know all the little nuances of the film.
One of the things that I love that the writers have done is picked out all of these small details that you might miss when you're watching the film, or you might notice, like, why is Emma Thompson holding a random green pepper in this scene? And they put a lot of those details in the show. So we recommend seeing the movie before you see the show, but also once you see the show, you're going to want to go back and see the movie again to like find all of those details and feel like you've got the in-joke a little more deeply.
Absolutely. I was leaving the lobby yesterday and I heard these people talking. They were like, well, wait, where was that moment in the movie? So I just know they're going to go back and watch it, because I guarantee it's in there.
Dan, let's talk a little bit about Hugh Grant. I mean, for a whole generation of people, I mean, he was the British guy, and he was in every single rom-com. And what was it like playing him and nailing down that character?
It's a little intimidating. Actually, he's one of my mom's favorites. So one of the most exciting things was calling my mom and saying, guess what? I get to play Hugh Grant. It's sort of funny. I've joked that when I was in high school, sort of in Hugh Grant's heyday, I was in the closet, and so to be a fan of rom-coms and Hugh Grant was like a thing that I couldn't do. So now I've gotten to like dive in deep and get to know all of his the sort of way he bumbles around a bit, and then sometimes he thinks about it and eventually arrives at the right point. And so it's just been fun, like Chris said, to really break down those little details that make these actors and these characters so special.
Have you called your mom and just done the Hugh Grant voice and like try to have a conversation with her?
I haven't, but I love that idea. She was here last week. She saw the show 3 times in one day, and just can't get enough.
What's it like to see the audience reaction, especially, a lot of super fans going to see this production?
It's such a gift. I mean, after the last 2 years that we've had, the thing that fills me so much these days is the laughter that comes from these audiences. Like, it's pure joy, and it's joy that we're having on stage. It's joy coming back at us from the audience. It's been incredible.
Let's talk a little bit about the ladies in the show as well too. I mean, we get our Emma Thompson, we got our Keira Knightley, which you have to see it just to see her impression. I mean, that hands down, like, it is incredible.
Strong jaw work.
So strong jaw work. Now, there's 6 of you in the cast, but there's more than 6 people that are portrayed in this film, and you're going in and out and changing. Let's talk a little bit about just kind of navigating and whatnot, that fast pace of the show.
Yeah, the whole company is so strong. Like you said, we've got 6 performers, and so we all have crazy sequences of playing. I think I have 6 characters, and I have the fewest number of characters of anyone in the show. And so we're all going lightning fast through those changes, and we have 2 wardrobe staff backstage helping us out, Jesse and Abigail, who are amazing, as well as our crew cover Rachel and Natalie, who's our ASM. They're all backstage, and they are there every instant, moving our costumes and props from places to place, handing us things in the perfect sequence everything is timed to the second to make sure we're getting back on stage for when we need to keep this show clipping along. And it's such a fun adventure to have it be such a team event for all of the people involved.
Have you, I mean, obviously, this is the production that you're in now, but you have worked in Chicago. Is this the most fun that you've had on stage? I mean, it's a lot of fun for the audience to see, but for the performers, and obviously it's stressful because you're doing a lot, but is this the most fun that you've had as a company?
No, absolutely. It's way up there. I mean, just getting to play on stage with such fierce comedians and actors and singers, and building, these iconic people into our new versions of them has been amazing.
And one of our castmates, Anne, who plays Emma Thompson and others, she said it well the other day. She said, "I don't think I've ever been in a cast that loves each other this much." And we really are nerds together. It's the six of us on stage plus our three understudies. We're all in a group text message thread and we all love being in it. It's not one of those ones you're like, get me out of, why do people keep messaging? We all get really excited with the jokes we're sending back and forth. And we have a day off and miss each other. It's a good tight knit family.
Now, Christopher, I want to ask you, just because I mentioned it before, as far as the Alan Rickman and Liam Neeson, did you practice those voices beforehand, or what have your friends and family said about some of the impressions that you've done previously?
Oh, absolutely. I've been working on these voices since the audition. I think this is the most fun I've had in an audition in a long time, just because I didn't feel the pressure to get it right. I felt I felt the freedom to play and explore these different sounds and explore the body movements and everything. Apologies, my dog's barking in the background. And I've been annoying the crap out of my partner with these voices for the last 2 months. Hopefully he's been able to put up with them well enough.
Just to the January 2nd. Just to the January 2nd.
Just to January 2nd. That's over. I'll stop.
No, Alan Alan Rickman will stay in that household, I'm sure, well past January 2nd.
Here to stay.
Please pass the salt.
Let's talk a little bit about each of your favorite moments. I know, for me, from the beginning, I was I want to see the lobster. I want to see Mr. Bean. I want to see, there was, several things. Was there one thing that each of you thought of oh my goodness, I'm going to be part of the show? This is the one thing that I'm most excited for.
I'm pretty lucky in that I get the poster boards. I mean, that's such a visual, iconic thing of Love Actually. And I sort of didn't realize it at first because I was focusing on some of his earlier scenes when he talks more, so I could get the voice and that sort of thing. And then I was like, oh, he's the guy. One of my characters is the guy that holds those poster boards and has that material, Keira Knightley. So that was a fun thing to be like, this is such a thing. And I don't even have to say anything during it. I just hold them and change the pieces. And that's a pretty special one.
And what about for you, Christopher?
Yeah, surprisingly enough, I think the character I've come to enjoy more than I thought I would, and more than the others maybe, is the Billy Mack character. Watching the movie, he's sort of there, but just realizing how I guess he progresses or regresses throughout the show to becoming just this sort of unhinged older pop star finding new glory. I have so much fun with his body and his voice, and he's a ton of fun to play on stage.
And obviously a very British production, but Laura Linney, that's another part that I enjoyed in the show, that, if you recognize what the sole American in this movie, you're going to get an incredible, great laugh in this production.
Laura Linney's a funny one. I only became super aware of her as a prominent actress, in recent years with Ozark, things like that. And I'd seen her in things, but she didn't really click in my brain. So it's fun now to go back and be like, oh yeah, that was her in Love Actually. And it's so Laura Linney. All the Laura Linney isms are there and they track through everything, and Anne nails them all in the performance. It's great.
I mean, all six of you are incredible. I'm going to go check it out again. It's maybe even the third time, because you're going to be there through January 2nd. And just want to say, Dan, Christopher, thank you so much for your time. And
thanks so much for having us.